witch hunts. No more wars. No more witch hunts. No more wars. No more witch hunts. No more wars. Right.
That's for Saturday. Probably won't arrive till Friday.
Hello.
I can see your sign in there. But when I get it, if I get an angle where I can take your picture, I still, two people in my life they associate with me. So change my wedding anniversary.
Front 3 Street, stop and around. Front 3 Street, stop and around by the FBI.
Specifically. Okay.
11th.
I saw some of your the first time I came out here was with the Pulling Corn Ferry Association. Three of us. Like, all of these guys came out. And they're like, who are you? What are you doing? And we're like, for the day. Eventually they left us alone, and now they won't even wave at you.
While we may disagree about many things with the victims of the FBI raids and their colleagues, this libertarian and most of my fellow libertarians stand with you in opposing this oppression, and we are with you in opposing the U.S. government's imperial wars. Now is the time to put our differences aside, to speak for liberty with one voice, for as they do to you now, they may one day try to do to us all. These raids have only one purpose, to silence dissent. We can't let them succeed. Libertarians have stood at this very courthouse informing juries of their right to nullify bad law. This despite government threats and the arrest of our activists at federal courthouses in Allentown and New York City. Likewise, the anti-war movement cannot allow itself to be intimidated by the FBI's thuggish tactics. We will continue organizing and holding rallies for peace. We will continue to call for the immediate withdrawal of the subpoenas, and we will continue to call for the return of all property stolen by the government during the raids. That these terrible raids are happening comes as no surprise. The never-ending war on terror is in reality a war on our rights. The government always extends its powers and becomes more oppressive during armed conflicts. Over 2 centuries ago, James Madison warned us of the dangers of war. He wrote, quote, "Of all the enemies to public liberty, war is perhaps the most to be dreaded because it comprises and develops the germ of every other. In war, too, the discretionary power of the executive is extended. No nation could preserve its freedom in the midst of continual warfare." End quote. Heed the warning of the founders. Heed the wisdom of the founders. End the wars and end the oppression.
Gentlemen, thank you for coming out to stand for freedom today. This is an important issue for all of us. As Darren previously mentioned, we might not all agree on everything. I'm personally a libertarian. That means I oppose the government and I stand for freedom. And I ask you to stand with me in opposing the government. The government can only do one thing: hurt people. I'm sorry, it can do 2 things. It can also steal. It steals money from us and it hurts people. It is time for us to withhold our consent at every opportunity. We must not yield to the thugs. These federal thugs in this building, in the FBI building on Arch Street, and across the country need to get a clear message. Bug off. We've had it. We will not yield. Your interference on our activities will only inspire us, will only bring in more of us. So, let's stand together. We don't agree on everything, but what we need to stand firm on is opposing these wars and standing for the Bill of Rights, for free speech, and we need to oppose tyranny at every turn. Again, thank you for coming out today.
The FBI, an outrageous raid to come on the heels of the 2010 Inspector General's review of FBI investigations of certain domestic advocacy groups, it's called, reporting that FBI agents from 2001 to 2006, under the guise of stopping terrorism, spied on anti-war activists and events sponsored by the Catholic workers, endangered people, Greenpeace, the Quakers, and others, including the Thomas Burton Center in Pittsburgh. It's been further revealed recently that the PA Department of Homeland Security do a $125,000 a year contract with the, quote, Institute for Terrorism Research and Response, an Israeli-U.S. private surveillance firm to track peace, environmental, and protest groups across the state. These raids are a direct attack on free speech and freedom of association, aimed at dividing the anti-war movement and fracturing people away from legitimate political activity. This blatant attack on free speech must be opposed by all people who are concerned with the preservation of constitutional rights. Like we said, these activists have been targeted because of their work in the anti-war and international solidarity movements, for their work in solidarity with the Palestinian and Colombian people. The feds have the audacity to use the term terrorism in this investigation. So let's think about this. The U.S. has financed the bombing and dispossession of the Palestinian people, whose only crime is resistance to genocide at the hands of the Zionist state. The U.S. has financed the building of Israeli settlements on stolen Palestinian land. In Colombia, the U.S. has financed death squads that murder union organizers at a rate higher than any place on earth. In Colombia, the U.S. has built 7 military bases to threaten the peace and security of all Latin America. In Honduras, just over a year ago, the U.S. covertly assisted a coup against the democratically elected government. Obama was silent. But this is nothing new. The U.S. has a history of overthrowing governments that don't fit their schemes, which are an obstacle to certain corporate powers. Guatemala, Nicaragua, Argentina, Chile, Indonesia, Iran, Greece, the list goes on. Bush #2 presided over the most concentrated attack on civil liberties in the history of this country. When the current president was elected, people expected a change. We got more of the same. The Patriot Act is still in force. The Inspector General's report, revealed the ugly truth. What do we say? We say no. No to frame-ups and raids. No to grand jury witch hunts. No to FBI intimidation of the anti-war movement. Keeping with the best traditions of the labor movement, we say an injury to one is an injury to all. An attack on one is an attack on all.